Ready?
Yep.
Superb. Sleeves down, I guess. Sure. Ready?
Yeah.
Hi, skiers. I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com.
I'm Bob. How's it going?
Bob and I are here today to do another 2020 ski comparison. This time we're looking at skis 95 to 100 millimeter underfoot. This will probably be the last men's comparison, at least for the next couple weeks. We're going to kind of switch gears, bring Allie in instead of Bob, do some with women's skis, and then we'll circle back around. We are going to do narrower men's skis, maybe some twin tips, maybe some powder skis too. But this will be the last men's comparison probably until closer to November. Many of you may have noticed that we launched a new website last week. Pretty exciting. We're all really excited about it. We didn't really mention anything about it over the summer, but it's been a really, really big project for us. Lots of different people have been working on it. We did have a couple kinks when the new site went up. As of today, filming this, it's functioning pretty well. By the time this video goes live, it should be flawless. We're really excited about the new design, easier to navigate, better content.
Still buy skis.
And you can still buy skis, still like really good prices and all that stuff that you expect from us. So with that said, I think we'll just dive right into this comparison. Something that Bob and I talked about before. We have talked about a lot of different widths of these skis. Yeah. A lot of them kind of similar traits or similar construction carry over through widths. So we may gloss over some construction details on this comparison, but we'll definitely hit you with all the important stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start us off here with the Armada Tracer 98. We talked about the Tracer 108 in the freeride comparison, and this really is a very, very similar ski. I think you can make the argument that 98 underfoot is a little bit more appropriate for a daily driver ski, especially here in the east, but even out west, 98's pretty wide too.
Yeah, it used to be huge.
Yep. The focus of these skis is really kind of crossing over between resort use and touring use. I think that's a really, really good way to think about these skis. You know, Armada has their Invictus line, which there's an Invictus 99, which is very similar in width, even in shape. That ski has a bunch of metal in it. This ski has no metal in it, so it's very, very light in my hand. What they did for 2020 is they made this ski feel quite a bit smoother. The old ski really had a lot of the same benefits going for it. It was very maneuverable, pretty easy to ski too. But sometimes we talk about that deflection that can happen with skis when they're really, really light and really responsive. They've really done a good job minimizing that feeling on this ski. I feel like it tracks a lot better than the previous ski. Plenty of rocker and plenty of early taper in this ski, in my opinion. It's not drastic as we see with some other models, or super pronounced, but it's there, and it makes a really smooth shape, which kind of translates to a smooth feel in soft snow. Really predictable, really intuitive feeling ski. Doesn't have that upper level of stability that we see with some of the heavier skis with metal, but it's still pretty darn strong. And something that we talked about in the freeride comparison quite a bit, which is going to come back up in this article. This is a great candidate for a Armada shift binding. Kind of crosses over, like I said, between resort and touring nicely. Yeah,
good hybrid style ski for a hybrid binding.
Yep, absolutely. Great ski. I think Armada did a really, really good job with these, and I love the graphics too. Not to be superficial, but
they look great. Both Tracers are really sharp looking skis, so there's some.
Yep,
that's a positive.
This is a popular one that a lot of people have been asking about.
Yeah, so bent Chetler 100 remains the same as last year. This is one of the ones that we don't have. A wider or narrower.
Well, the 120, but we're not going to talk about that probably.
So just a little bit on construction on this ski. Straight up wood core on this, nothing flashy about it in terms of the build. The shape and the profile is where it gets a little interesting. They use Atomic's Horizon tips and tails. So what they've done is shaped the sides of the base in the tips and in the tails.
Let's say it's boat hull concept.
Yeah, boat
that
hull
we talked
concept. A little bit like the Lion's convex tips and tails.
Yeah.
And they've also taken some material out, and so these tips and tails are pretty thin. In the tip, I've noticed it's got a pretty good flex to it.
Yep.
But the tails are stiffer. So if you're looking for that, strong rebound out of a turn, the Ben Chetler's going to get that. Jeff's a big fan of the balance point, so we're looking for a pretty good balance on a ski here. And so park skiers who are looking to do some all-mountain skiing will absolutely love this. Comes in shorter lengths too, so that teenager skier, lighter adult.
I coach a free ski program on the weekends part-time, and a lot of the, I'd say 13 to 17-year-old kids are really, really liking these skis. Yeah. And a lot of those guys are more and more free ride competitors than park skiers.
Yeah. But for a light ski that's got good snap and 100 millimeters underfoot, we're right in the sweet spot of that really versatile ski. So
playful all-mountain performance.
You bet.
I think what I found quite interesting about this ski is the range of mount points. So you did that balance point thing, which is something that I really like to do with skis, but that's the most centered point. You can go all the way back to there, and Atomic still recommends a mount point back there. So it can be a lot of different things for a lot of different people. It can be a directional ski, or it can be a center-mounted twin tip.
Yeah.
I interviewed Crispin Chetler last year at one of the trade shows, and I was like, hey, which ski do you spend more time on, the 120 or the 100? And he was like, well, I get ski powder all the time, so the 120. And he basically said he uses this as his park ski.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing to mention about the Ben Chetler. The person who designed it kind of uses it as a park ski, but we know a lot of people who ski it as a all-mountain tree ski. Fantastic mogul ski.
And in our ski test, that got very consistent high praise from, across the board, different, size testers, different abilities. So high level of versatility and a lot of people just love that ski.
Another ski from Atomic. Atomic was a brand for this comparison that we felt like we should bring in two skis because they're quite different from each other. This is the Vantage 97 Ti. We talked about the Vantage 90 and the 90 millimeter comparison. Essentially everything we said about that ski can carry over to this ski. It's Atomic's ProLite construction, which is really cool. We'll just kind of gloss over it. They kind of channel out some sections in the middle of the ski to shed weight, and then you get the stiffness and stability provided by these kind of raised sections on the side of the ski. This ski is very, very lightweight, especially among this category and especially among the stiffer skis on this wall. And what that does is it makes it very, very, very responsive. Easily one of the quickest skis to react to skier input on this whole wall because of that responsive construction and its shape. There's not a ton of rocker in this ski, longer, smooth rocker in the tip, not much in the tail really at all. What they did do for 2020 is they softened up the flex of the tail. So back to that kind of deflection conversation, that previous version of this ski was so stiff and so responsive that I often said that it, like, if I made a mistake on it, it kind of like accentuated that mistake, and I felt like it was kind of maybe too unforgiving if you made a mistake or if your weight got thrown off balance, and they really, really fixed that for this ski. Much more forgiving feel out of the tail while still being very stiff, very powerful, very responsive. I would say that this has more of a carving mentality over a smeary, swishy, playful mentality. So a great choice for a skier who has more of a precision approach to their skiing. Probably is very comfortable driving a ski, really values carving performance, but they don't want the heft and the weight and the fatiguing feel that can come along with the classic kind of sandwich construction, 2 sheets of metal, that type of ski build. So a great option from Atomic. I think Atomic's doing a great job, just to kind of go back to the Ben Chetler, differentiating their skis.
Right.
So whether it's the Backland series compared to the Vantage or the Ben Chetlers compared to the Vantage, really nice options, or really two nice avenues for two different style skiers there. And we mentioned skis with traditional builds and 2 sheets of metal, and there's probably, this is a great one to transition to after mentioning that.
Yeah, the Blizzard Bonafide. This thing's been around for quite a while now. That bigger cousin of the Brahma 88. So sandwich sidewall build, wood core, 2 sheets of metal. This is, one of the best skis on the wall in terms of stability at speed.
Yep.
So, if you're a powerful skier and you love to go fast, there's not a whole lot of options better than this, especially at this width.
Yep.
I think the remarkable thing about it is at 98 underfoot, how well it carves.
Yeah.
And that Atomic as well, 97 underfoot, that's a really strong on-piste performer. This kind of takes it to another level in terms of its race-like feel.
Yeah.
Ton of energy out of the turn with this thing. Even though it's got that metal and wood construction, it's got a very even flex.
Yep.
So tip to tail, it's a very consistent ski. Not too much in the rocker profile on this. You're going to get some good tip to tail stability, long effective edge, so that really increases the running length and the stability of the ski.
Yep.
So for pretty flat in the tail as well, so that's going to hook on to the turn for longer than some of these skis with more turned up tails. Your Western one ski quiver, if you like going fast, doesn't get much better than that. On the east, that thing's going to plow through the crud. It's not going to stay on top of it like some of the lighter skis do. So if you're that skier that really likes to, hit whatever is in front of you at whatever speed, that Bonafide continues to be, top of its class. So.
Yeah, pretty much endless stability from it.
Right.
It's something that I like to say about this ski. Like, I've had a chance to ski this in a 187 a handful of times.
It's a big ski.
And it's just like, you can go as straight and as fast as you want to, and the ski is just like, okay. In the written portion of this article, when I was editing your writing, you talked about the versatility of the Bonafide.
Yeah.
And I agree that it's a versatile ski. But we talked about it, that if you're looking to use the Bonafide as a one ski quiver or a versatile all mountain ski, you should have pretty accomplished skiing technique, probably a pretty aggressive skier, pretty comfortable driving a ski, just because of that weight. You got to release the tail edge of the ski and actively kind of unweight it to get it to come around in tight terrain. So, if you're a stow skier and you're planning on getting a Bonafide and skiing in the woods, just be aware and prepared that it's going to require some skier input. Next up is quite a bit different than the Bonafide. This is the DPS Wailer 100 in the Alchemist construction. We did a full review of this last year, and I thought it was a really fun one to review. Your quick assessment of this ski when you look at it or hold it in your hand is it's very light and uses that classic DPS kind of banana rocker. In fact, it looks like a banana. Plenty of taper in the tail too. There's quite a bit of tail rocker and taper. So you look at this shape and the turn radius is 15 meters. Yeah. So you look at that shape and you think this is going to be tremendously maneuverable, very playful, and it is. If you're skiing trees, let's go back to the conversation we just had. If you're skiing trees, this is like drastically easier to maneuver than a ski like the Bonafide. On the other side of the spectrum, or the other side of the coin, you look at this shape and you don't expect it to have tremendous stability or groomer performance. And I think that's where this ski sets itself apart from some of the other skis that share this shape, is with this DPS Alchemist construction, you actually are getting pretty impressive groomer performance.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I remember being just very surprised and impressed by how fast I could ski it.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about our weight sometimes. Like, I'm a pretty lightweight guy, so I don't know if you felt the same, you know, quite the same level of stability. But I have footage of you skiing this ski pretty fast down lift line, which is one of the steepest trails at Stowe. Steep, consistent pitch, and it wasn't like floppy or flimsy.
No, but I did feel more comfortable trying to stick to that 15-meter radius. I didn't feel...
You weren't opening up big cars.
No, not like, you know, you're giving up, you know, 5 meters in radius to some of these other skis.
Sure.
So I didn't feel like... I mean, I wanted to stick to what it was designed for.
Yep.
That was kind of my idea when I was testing that.
Yep.
And it did that great. You know, once I kind of figured out, oh, I'm going to stick to this radius.
Yep.
I was really impressed with the stability and the quickness and just the overall maneuverability. I think when I tried to ride it fast, that's where, you know, the 60 pounds or whatever I have on you probably, you know, came into play in that.
Yeah, I mean, I was, you know, I did some longer carving turns on it. I mean, you're limited with the 15-meter radius to how big of a sweeping turn you can make, but yeah, I had a lot of fun just linking carving turns on it. So, really good ski for somebody who definitely values that maneuverability. Definitely has an off-piste mentality, I think. But you can still get back on the groomers and just rip some carving turns with your friends on a groomer day. So, really good ski, and I think that's, in my opinion, that's how you justify the extra price of the DPS, is you're getting that kind of extra level of groomer performance with a really maneuverable ski.
Keeping in that lightweight tradition is this Dynastar Legend X 96. They make it very light, very quick. A lot of these Dynastars have that 5-point side cut where they have pretty elongated taper so that the radius of the ski is really in the middle.
Yeah.
So a little bit shorter of a radius and lighter than the 88, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah, they lighten up the wood a little bit.
Different wood. So that's one of the differences in construction. Pretty stiff. This has almost the same type of strength to weight ratio as the Atomic, I would say. But I would say it's a little bit more turny, a little more soft snow oriented because of that shape. So when you're, you know, kind of similar to the DPS with the longer taper, really good for shorter turns, woods, moguls, anything like that. I don't think the stiffness is prohibitive of moguls. I think it's, you know, more of a stable ski than anything else.
Yeah, you get some benefits of metal in there too.
Yep. And, you know, again, similar to the Atomic, a flatter tail. So that's going to keep you locked into the turn.
But a little taper in there too in the tail.
Yeah, it's actually it's nice. It's narrower in the tail.
Yeah.
So that gives you better control over your direction. It doesn't lock you into the turn.
Slightly better maneuverability, easier to kick that tail out.
Yeah, and I think that the lightweight nature of this really sets it apart from some of the other skis on the wall with a little more heft to them. You know, not too much of a sacrifice in terms of stability.
Yeah, and it's not the lightest ski on this wall.
No.
But I think it's got, like you're saying, it's got a really good blend of being fairly lightweight and still pretty stable. Yeah. It's just a really, the combination of characteristics that they put into that ski, I think is really cool, and I think makes it pretty unique. And I, you know, going back to the superficial graphics conversation, they look great this year.
Yeah.
I was personally not the biggest fan of their graphics in years past. I think this full green kind of muted color looks awesome.
Yeah, and the 88 was a pretty sharp looking ski too.
Yeah, definitely. So great job to Dynastar. Next up is the Elan Ripstick 96. We've talked about the Ripstick 88. We've talked about the Ripstick 106 Black. Yep. This really follows the same conversation that we've had. If you recall, Elan is using those full-length carbon tubes in this ski. Bob and I talked a lot about the difference in feel when you use carbon in a 3D application. And essentially, you get much better vibration damping and vibration damping and responsiveness in all kind of directions to the ski instead of a flat carbon laminate. So really cool ski. It's quite light. Not as light as some, but it's up there among the light skis on this wall. And we keep going back to this with Elan, but the company's really all about fun right now. And that's the superlative they're going for, is that their skis are more fun. And I think that's a really, really good way to think about this ski. It doesn't have the stiffest flex that it's like beating you up all the time. But the torsional stiffness of this ski is really good.
Yeah.
So it'll hold an edge, but because it'll let you kind of flex it underfoot, it actually lets you play with different turn shapes. Kind of like some of the skis we've seen with 3D turn radius, but different just because it allows you to flex the ski into those turns. Nice shape too, I think, for an all-mountain ski. A little bit of early taper in the tip, good tip rocker, pretty similar in the tail, some early taper, very similar tail shape to the Dynastar actually. So you get the release ability, but you still get good edge grip too. Just a really, really fun ski. I think skiers were overlooking this ski for a few years, and I think people are starting to pick up that it's really, really fun. And you can, you get a ton of performance benefits out of this construction. The shape's really versatile. It's not as tiring as some of the other skis we've looked at.
Yeah.
Very, very, very well-rounded, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think great energy out of the turn for such a light ski. We talk about that ratio and where your balance is, your strength to weight or your energy to weight or your dampness. I think this is a really nice blend of pop and good energy coming out of the turn.
Definitely.
So that equals fun in my book. For
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
great ski from Elan.
And the black is just the same, just with an extra layer of
carbon. They add a layer of carbon to the black. And we do have the 96 black too. So, if you're liking the Elan story, but you're thinking maybe I want like a little extra performance, that's where that extra sheet of carbon comes into play. But great job what Elan is doing right now. I had a blast skiing the 88 with Glenn Plake and just kind of talking about the goal of their skis.
Yeah. Well, skiing's fun.
Turns out skiing is fun.
Skis should follow suit. I would say this is a little bit more on the business side of things in terms of skis on our wall right now, the Fischer Ranger 99 Ti. This is a new model for this year, redesigned from the 98 of years past. We've done the 107 this year so far, and this is a similar model. It has a different rocker profile, so a little bit more on-trail oriented. The performance level on this is quite high. Yeah. It's a little bit more accessible from here up, and then from midfoot back, the tail is pretty stiff and definitely likes to hold onto the turn through the end. So I think it's a great mix for both snow conditions and ski style. So the longer, lower tip rocker profile definitely helps you hook into the turn. Very floaty as well, but the metal underfoot and that stiffer tail are very, very responsive and stable throughout the turn. I call it kind of a point and shoot ski. Doesn't really care what's in front of it. It's going to go over it. I thought the hard snow capability and the energy out of the turn was fantastic for a ski this wide. I skied the 188, and that was a great length, great ski. Did not feel too long or cumbersome. Felt very agile for how stiff and burly it is. But that skier that's looking for top of the line performance is going to love the build and the shape of this.
Yeah, and I think it's they did a good job with this ski by making it pretty well rounded. Yeah. It's definitely powerful. It's not tremendously light, but with the carbon nose, it's got decently light swing weight. I think it's always cool to point out that Fischer adds a skin attachment point to this ski and most of their skis. So it would be a great touring ski for somebody with more of a powerful skiing mentality. They probably care more about the performance on the way back down than how efficient their ascent is. And I think that's just a really good way to think about the ski. I think just definite improvements over the skis they're replacing. pretty impressive what Fischer's doing right now.
Yeah, just a good overall snow feel.
Yeah.
Good control. You know, it's easy to control, but it's still very high performance.
Definitely. Next, we got the Core 99 from Head. This is the third core that we've talked about in these comparisons so far. So we did the 93 and the 105. Now we're at the 99. Pretty much the same story with this. That same combination of unique construction materials. And the 99 is the stiffest out of the cores. Noticeably so. I mean, it's really one of the stiffest skis up here. So it's pretty hard charging ski.
Yeah.
I think skiers that have skied the 93 or the 105, if you're taking that performance and applying it to the 99, that's not quite right. I think the 99 is more ski than those skis in terms of how hard you can ski it, how fast you can ski it, how powerful it feels, how stiff it feels. Of course, on the other side of that, I would say that the 99 is slightly less forgiving than the 93 or the 105. Still a very versatile ski. They kind of integrate that core shape into it. So I would say very similar to what we saw in Elan's, in the Ripstick model. You know, there's some early taper here. There's quite a bit of tip rocker, but it's not drastic. It's very smooth. So you get really good edge grip out of this ski. Really good responsiveness too, because it's not super heavy. It's pretty light. But I will say that it's a pretty hard charging ski. You want to be, if you're looking at the Core 99, you should be a pretty aggressive skier. I think you're the type of skier that values stability at speed. But what I like about it is that it's a little lighter than the Bonafides, the Enforcers, the Mantras, those skis with 2 sheets of metal. Even the Fischer feels a little lighter than the Fischer. So kind of back to what we were saying about the Atomic, the Vantage 97, not the Chetler. If you're looking for that responsive, precise, powerful groomer performance, you get it out of this ski, but it's a little lighter, a little easier to use than those heavier skis.
I was very surprised with that.
Yeah.
That ski's ability, excuse me, on trail.
Yeah.
You know, I thought the 93 was better for quicker turns.
Yeah.
But I was really able to open up
you
the more GS shape turn on that, and I wasn't expecting it coming from the 93 and 105 from years past.
Right.
And then hopping on the 99 last year when it came out, definitely stuck out in my mind as a strong like GS carving performer.
Yeah, it's surprising, and I think that's become a theme about that ski is people are pretty surprised by its capabilities.
Yep. Next up is the all-new K2 Mindbender 99 Ti. We've done the 90 and the 108, and sitting right in the middle is the 99. And follows suit with the Titanal Y-frame, Y-beam, so metal over the edges and through the center of the tail. K2 wraps its skis in fiberglass, gives them a very damp feel. You do have to deal with a little bit of extra weight for that. But it doesn't feel heavy on your feet.
Yeah.
That's my big takeaway from all of these Mindbenders, is that they have a heavy weight when you're lifting it like that, but no one skis like that. So when it's on your feet, it feels light and maneuverable. It has a pretty stiff flex, but it's pretty even. And then underfoot, where the sidewall is beefed up, you really get good control.
Yeah, good stability.
This thing just absolutely motors down the hill.
Yeah.
It's really fun, surprisingly nimble for the weight.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you just lay it over, it's not gonna waver, it's not gonna wobble. Extremely stable ski, you know, and at 99 underfoot, it's gonna float pretty well too. The flatter tip shape, I think, helps with that swing weight. You know,
I think so too.
Kind of lopping off the top.
Yeah.
You know, they address the weight issue by reducing swing weight. So that's kind of what we mean by it's heavy to the feel, but not heavy on your feet.
Yeah, I think the most impressive thing about this ski is just how K2 has somehow blended stability with a pretty playful, fun feel. I think they distinctly feel like a K2.
Yeah, I would agree. It has a very different feel than everything else on the wall.
Yep, and I think they I feel like the company is going back to like traditionally what I think of K2.
Yeah.
Like the Seth pistols
right.
and like skis like that, where they were like something about them was just really fun and kind of like a counterculture mentality. And there's a little bit of that in this ski.
Yeah.
Like they've taken, they're clearly trying to compete with the stiff, powerful skis up here, the skis with great vibration damping, but they're doing it with their own K2 feel. And I can't describe it any better than just that it's...
You don't have to. It's just
it's
a great...
K2
all
ski.
Mountain, all conditions, all terrain.
It's an American ski.
Yeah, you don't have to worry too much about what you're doing when that thing's on.
Yeah, really, I think the whole Mindbender line is, we like the K2 Pinnacle collection too. I don't think we've talked about that yet in any of the comparisons. Bob and I both really like that collection of skis.
Yeah.
But I think the Mindbenders are just objectively better skis.
Yeah.
They're more powerful skis too.
Definitely. A different profile on these is a little bit more, I would say, precise.
Yeah. Next we have the Kastle FX 96 HP. This is a really interesting one in my opinion. The previous FX skis, in my opinion, had really solidified themselves among the top tier performers of this category. They had a price tag that came along with that too, but there were a couple times where I skied like a Bonafide and then an FX 96 and I was like, yeah, this is really good. Very, very similar, but they had, because of the hollow tech and a slightly different shaping concept, they were maybe a little bit more maneuverable. Mm-hmm. So I personally was, I guess I'll just say, skeptical when I heard about the changes to this ski. So HP used to tell us that there was metal in it. There's no more metal in this ski. So there's they do an interesting thing with the core. They use denser materials through the center, lighter wood along the edges, and they wrap that center with carbon and fiberglass. Yeah. So kind of cool, kind of similar to the three-dimensional carbon application that we saw with Elan because they're wrapping the ski. And I will say that I was pleasantly surprised when I skied this and I found that it retained the performance and just confidence-inspiring feel that I expected from a Kastle FX HP ski. Yeah. I don't necessarily know exactly how they did it because by taking a metal out of a ski, I expected it would lose some stability, some edge grip. I'm giving a lot of credit to this tail shape because they've flattened the tail out quite a bit. It used to be quite rounded in the tail, much flatter now. So I think even though that there's not metal in the ski, you get such a good stable feel out of this tail that it's kind of retaining what I expected to get out of an FX. And then somehow it's still just as maneuverable as it used to be. And I think that's probably because they're taking some mass out of the ski by removing that metal. But Kastle skis are always impressive. I think what's maybe best about this new version is it feels like it's differentiating from the MX line a little bit more than the previous FX skis were. Right. So before it was like, this ski has 2 sheets of metal in the MX, and then the FX, the ski also has 2 sheets of metal. It's just slightly different. Right. And now you're really getting kind of a different feel, just different when you put it on your feet compared to an MX. It feels like a different ski. But in my opinion, definitely retained that Kastle performance. I think it would be a great touring ski, little skin attachment clip on the tail. And I think that was essentially the theory behind these skis for a long time. Yeah. They're kind of Chris Davenport skis, and then he's known for those long extended tours. So still definitely a good one to cross over kind of between the resort and the backcountry.
Liberty Origin 96. We did the 106 in our other test, or other review, I'm sorry. Same theory applies in construction, bamboo and poplar, carbon strip down the middle, 10 millimeters narrower. So this is your all mountain version, whereas the 106 is your more soft snow version. Cool thing about this is just the nice shape to it, both tip and tail.
Yeah.
So that nice kind of slender, rounded tail definitely makes for an easier exit of the turn. So that's going to add to the playful aspect of the ski. So like the other Origin, the 106, this 96 really focuses on that playful playability,
Super
maneuverability,
snappy.
very snappy. I've mentioned before I'm a fan of the bamboo, so that theory continues with the Origin 96. You know, we've skied this a bunch here at Stowe. It's a really good Eastern ski.
Yeah.
You know, that 96 waist is good for a lot of different conditions. So
yeah, I've got a friend that skis Sugarloaf and has kind of a freestyle background or playful mentality. He swears by these skis. And that was something that we talked about when we did a full review of it last year, is kind of, we took it into some trees at Stowe, and it only took me like 3 turns where I thought of my friend up in Maine and was like, yeah, I understand why he skis this thing all the time. It was so much fun just to like, you don't have to go big on that ski.
Yeah.
You can just take small little airs here and there. It's really easy to load up the tail and like get some pop and ollie out of the tail, which is really cool. And I think this is something that I personally was thinking about when we put this series of skis together. In my opinion, there's 3 true twin tips on here. And I think it might surprise you, but I think the Origin 96 is probably the strongest in terms of like carving turns. But Chetler's not bad, but I think the carbon in that ski give it a little bit more energy out of a turn, which was one of the things I was impressed about it. Is it's a pretty well-rounded ski, and that wasn't something I expected just looking at a Liberty twin tip.
Was this one of your 3 twin tips?
This was one of my 3 twin tips.
Right.
Yep. Brand new ski for 2020, the line Vision 98. Brand line is a new brand for us here at SkiEssentials, so it's pretty cool that we have this ski. Easily one of the lightest skis up here, and also one of the softest flexing. So when I skied this thing for the first time, I was just basically like laughing to myself the whole time. I think the first thing I did was do a 360 going like 2 miles an hour off. Like on the ground, just like whoop. It's so light that it's so easy to throw around. Really, really, really good ski for anybody with really a freestyle mindset. Definitely a playful skier. Probably, I think I told you when you were doing the write-up, I was like, this is the best ollieing ski on the wall, and you were like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
I had to learn how to spell ollie.
But it is, like, if you're ollieing, kind of like I was saying about the Origin, like, you could load up the tail and get a lot of pop out of it. Because it's softer, I think it's easier to do that.
Right.
So if you're a lighter weight skier, it's really, really easy. Like nose butter 360s, tail butters, anything like that. Really, really fun on this ski. Because it's light and because it's pretty soft, it's not super stable.
Right.
When I skied it, even, I got thrown into the back seat a couple times, like hit a firm mogul or something, and there's not much back there to support you if you do that. But if you're skiing in a balanced stance, it's so much fun, and it really probably is the most playful, most freestyle influenced ski in this comparison. I think it could be a park ski for a lot of skiers too, especially somebody like me in their early 30s who traditionally has been a park skier, and now you don't spend all your time in the terrain park, but you like to dabble with that every once in a while. Really, really good ski, and just impressively light. Not really sure how they did it.
And on the opposite end of
ollies,
tail ollies and nose butters is the Nordica Enforcer 100.
You could nose butter it, but
you could nose butter it. I'm not nose buttering this thing. This thing's been around for a couple of years. There's not a whole lot to say that hasn't been said. Other than that, it's just an extraordinarily well-rounded and versatile ski.
I think at this point it speaks for itself.
So, 100 underfoot, I guess we can talk about it in context of the Enforcer line. we've done the 88 and the 104. So the 100 sits in the middle. It doesn't have the free tail. It has the more on-trail tail, little rounded in the back, so you do get your playfulness, especially in soft snow.
Yeah.
You know, if this thing was squared off like the Kastle tail, it's going to want to hold on. And at this stiffness and this stability, that's not going to help out too many skiers.
Yeah.
So the ease of release in the tail in soft snow is pretty impressive. And then the tip, you know, it's got that wider shape, which is just really nice for that all-mountain skier looking for, you know, a ton of performance and versatility.
Yeah, that tip shape has pretty much become synonymous with Enforcer skis now.
And you do see other companies follow suit with this type of shape.
What's really nice, we talked about this, what's really nice about this design, I'm not going to flex it against this sign too much because I don't want to scratch it, but as you roll this ski up on edge and flex it, the effective edge is actually lengthening, whereas some skis with early taper, it's never reconnecting to the snow. So I think that's part of the reason why these skis have developed such a strong following and why they have such a good feel, is if you have a high edge angle, you're getting like a huge running length of the skis, so tons of stability, and then they just have a really even flex from tip to tail.
Yeah, tip to tail. It's just an extraordinarily consistent ski. It's got a very nice even flex for it. With you know, they always tout that it's thinner metal than used in other skis, so that really helps make a more even flex, a more round flex.
Yeah, and I remember going back to the free ski or the wider ski comparison. You know, we talked about the 104, and you kind of said like the 104 is not really like losing much carving performance compared to the 100, which I think is true. But that ski is more powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're really looking for that power, the Enforcer 100 still takes the cake among that line. And you know, with the addition of the 88 and the 104, the 93 and the 100 are still like probably the most well-rounded skis in that Enforcer line. You know, I think depending on skiing style is sort of how all these.
You definitely want to look at what you want to do in your application for the ski.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're great.
Yeah. This is another good one that's been around for a few years now. We've seen a lot of different versions of this ski in the past 10 years or so. The name's changed a couple times too, but this is the Rossignol Sky 7 HD. Definitely one of the most maneuverable skis on this wall. It's got tons of tip rocker, which I'm sure you can see. Good amount of early taper too, so definitely a soft snow, tree skiing mentality from the shape of the ski. Quite a bit of rocker in the tail too. Very similar tail shape that we saw with like the DPS, some of those skis with quite a bit of rocker, early taper. The carbon alloy matrix construction that they updated this ski with a few years ago definitely boosted its edge grip, its responsiveness, all that stuff. But to me, the highlight of the Sky 7, it's super easy maneuverability. I think it's if you were skiing the tightest tree line at Stowe, this is probably the easiest ski to ski among this whole wall.
I'd agree.
So, which is great for a few reasons. So among our staff even, I can think of a ton of people that's how they ski.
Yeah.
That's what they want to ski. And these are skiers who have been skiing their entire life. They're advanced expert skiers. But their idea of a good day on the mountain is finding tight trees and challenging themselves and maneuvering through it.
Yeah.
This ski is fantastic at that. And then I also think it's one of the more approachable skis too. Yeah. Because it's so easily maneuverable, you can put an intermediate on it and they're going to do just fine. Yeah. I mean, it's an ability enhancing ski for that intermediate level skier or a less aggressive advanced skier, or like I said, the experts who just value quickness, who aren't going out there and just dumping the ski down the fall line and charging. They're making, determined, precise movements on their ski.
Terrain appropriate turns.
Exactly, terrain appropriate turns. And I think, it's really, really valuable to have a ski like this among this category.
Definitely.
In a world of so many skis with 2 sheets of metal and just stiffness and stability and stuff like that, it's really nice having this Sky 7 HD. Yeah. And it's not like it's a noodle. You can still get back on a groomer and carve some turns. And
in that light, it's got some great camber underfoot. Jeff, you'd mentioned the rocker and the tip and the tail. I would add that it's a pretty heavily underfooted cambered ski, so you actually get a really good amount of bounce out of the turn.
Yeah.
That camber hooks up, gives you good edge grip, and gives it a really nice kind of, I'd say, bouncy feel you can really get from one turn to the next.
Yep.
This is the Salomon QST 99. We've had a lot of interest about the updates in the QST series this year. And the 99 is, in the middle, I don't know if I'd call it the flagship model, but it's one that they want to emphasize.
Let's call it the flagship. I think we can do that.
I'll do it. So we've done the 92 and the 106.
Yeah.
And the 99 is no different. They've added the cork to the tips and the tails, and it's, I would say, a pretty wide shovel shape.
We were comparing shovel width, and the QST is one of the bigger shovels.
So for the 181 in this model versus the 182 in the Liberty, the Salomon has a pretty significantly wider shovel. That equals better soft snow performance and better flotation. Quite simply. It's going to rise up and stay on top, and that more tapered shape than something like the Liberty is going to give it better maneuverability and better shorter turn characteristics. But compared to the older model, it definitely likes to open it up a little bit more. I think that extra weight gives it more stability.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, nice even round flex to the ski. And some pretty decent tail rocker to help you out with the end of that turn.
Yeah, the first time I skied it was like in a weird kind of mix of icy and soft snow conditions.
Yeah.
And I skied like an ungroomed kind of bump run, and I was really impressed by the stability that they got for this year.
Yeah. And we talked with the 92 and the 106 about the well-rounded, versatile nature of this ski. It's not the lightest, it's not the heaviest.
Yeah.
It doesn't have metal in it, but it has other materials that do the stabilizing. So it's kind of one of those right down the middle skis that if you're in between skis and you don't know what to buy, this QST series
makes it pretty easy.
Yeah, it makes it easy. You can just click in and go with this thing.
Yeah.
It does not require a whole lot of work, but the benefits are great. It's just it's just a very well-rounded ski that is gonna satisfy a lot of skiers.
In my opinion, one of the most well-rounded skis out of everything we've talked about or will talk about today.
And I'd say that the updates are upgrades.
Definitely.
That they're not taking away from the ski.
Yeah, the old ski was great too.
Yep.
And I'll say we have quite a few of them still, and they're really cheap. The previous QST,
the
2019 QST 99 on SkiEssentials right now is one of the best deals in my opinion, and we both really liked that ski too. Yep. So if you're looking for a deal, definitely try. And women's too. There's some 92s.
I think 99s. We have the 106 and
I think we have the 106 too. So definitely some really good deals on previous year Salomon skis. Next up, I think we got 2 more skis to go. This is the Stockli Stormrider 95. We've talked quite a bit about the Stormrider skis so far. We did the 88 and the 105 in the respective comparisons. Same story with this. This metal top sheet makes the ski overall quite a bit lighter than the skis that use traditional top sheets with 2 sheets of metal within. Bob and I have talked about how when metal is the first thing that you're giving your input to, so the movements in your body goes straight to your boot, to your binding, to your ski, to this metal top sheet before anything else. It gives it a very precise feel and really, really stable and smooth.
Yeah.
I think hands down it's one of the smoothest skis on this wall, great vibration damping, really good stability. It might not be one of the stiffest skis on the wall, but it's certainly not one of the softest either.
No.
You know, it's really not lacking any power. And I think what you get with the extra price tag compared to some of these other skis is you're shedding some grams.
Yeah.
I think you're shedding a few 100 grams compared to skis with 2 sheets of metal.
Yeah.
So, fantastic choice. You know, something that we've talked about before. Is it twice as good as skis that it costs twice as much as? I actually don't think this is fully twice as much as anything on this wall.
No, but it's more.
But it's more. Is it twice as good? Objectively, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But if you've got the money to spend and you want a, you know, really ultra high-end feel and kind of a unique ski,
Yeah.
this is super awesome. And it definitely speaks to that precision skier. You like to make carving turns. You like to drive your ski. But I'd say a little bit easier, a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more maneuverable. Not nearly as maneuverable as, like, you know, Wailer 100 or Sky 7 or skis like that, but less forgiving when you're trying to maneuver it than the heavier skis.
Yeah.
So just a really good feel. You know, easily a high-end feel right away when you click in.
Great fit and finish.
Yeah.
You know, just the detail and, you know, what you can see from it. It's pretty clear when you're holding it in your hand and skiing with it on your feet, that work does not go unnoticed.
Yep. All right, what do you got to finish it with, Bob?
Last but not least, Volkl M5 Mantra. This is the second year of this M5 design.
Yep.
And so far, so good.
Yeah.
You know, I still think that some people were disappointed that they got rid of either the full rocker or the wider waist or whatever it may be. But all for the better in my mind, especially with the addition of the 102 that we did last time. So this splits the difference between the Kendo 88 and the Mantra 102. This lacks the 3D radius side cut, but still has the Titanal frame, the wood core, and that full-on Volkl feel that everyone's pretty much used to at this point.
Yeah, race precision feel.
Yeah. That Titanal frame that puts the metal over the edges gives you a ton of precision.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive overall flex. More of an on-trail profile versus some of the other skis that we've looked at today and in the past. Kind of similar to that Enforcer, that rounded tail shape is good for that all-mountain versatility. So it's not going to lock you into the turn and soft snow. It's going to help you release.
Yeah.
But it is still, you know, it's not heavily rockered in the tail. So your little tail butters and ollies aren't going to come too easily. On
Yeah, you know, if you're taking it into tight terrain, it's kind of another, like going back to the Bonafide, it's a ski that you should be a pretty accomplished skier with good technique and comfortable giving a ski some input.
Yeah.
You know, like I chased Parker Herlihy through the woods with a camera, and like he was crushing it on that ski. But Parker Herlihy is one of the best East Coast skiers I've ever seen, probably. You know, he won the Ski the East Freeride Tour, so I would expect that he can do that.
Yeah.
But that's what we're getting at is and actually I have some footage of him skiing the ski off piste. So if you're going to do that, you should have pretty accomplished technique.
And I would put it as one of the more trail-oriented skis on this wall.
Yeah.
Not just the rocker profile and the build, but the shape. I mean, it is 9,600 foot, so you're getting into the same category as your Stockli 95.
Sure, your Bonafides, all that stuff.
So getting narrower in the waist, you're getting better edge grip, and you know, just that stronger torsional stiffness with that narrower width.
And that's the intention of this ski from Volkl.
Right.
We were pretty lucky. We got to see some of next year's 2021 Volkl skis, and they've got some new stuff coming out that really complements this nicely.
Yeah.
And it like even gives more emphasis that, like, yes, these are powerful, aggressive, precise skis. So.
Well, I think that's an appropriate ski to end on in the 95 to 100 category. You know, definitely just with its pedigree and reputation. you know, we're just seeing a lot of good stuff coming out of the Volkl with this newer Titanal frame technology, and you know,
seeing it trickle into like the Deacons too. They have some Titanal frame influence in that ski.
Yeah, so from the 102 down to the
Deacon 80.
Deacon 80 that has, well, they have
it's different
glass, but similar. It's the same basic concept of the more material over the edges, and you know, cuts off in the middle, allowing for a more natural flex. But overall, just, you know, a fantastic example of what an all mountain ski should be in this width range.
So yeah, that's it. That's our comparison of 95 to 100 millimeter skis. As always, let us know if you have any questions. There are skis that we weren't able to include, so let us know if you have any questions about that. A lot of people have been asking about Black Crows. We're sorry we haven't been able to include Black Crows. When they do arrive, we're planning on doing kind of a whole conversation of Black Crow skis specifically, so that'll be fun. Hope you guys are enjoying the new website. Definitely let us know if you're having any trouble with it. Hopefully by the time you see this video, it's functioning smoothly and efficiently. And we will see you guys on the slopes very soon.
Yeah. I
would expect within a couple weeks we'll be getting on snow here in the east. It's like 40 degrees and raining outside right now. So if it was 30 degrees and raining, it'd be snowing.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.